Live, are we live? Are we live? Just gotta fix the thingy again. But other than that, we should be live. Alright, this needs to be made bigger. There we go. Boom. Alright, got that going on right there. Just getting all my things ready to go here. Boom. Okay, get that ready to go. Bop right there. Alright. Good morning, good morning, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Just setting everything up. Just getting everything all fixed up and ready to go. Yeesh. All right. There we go. There we go. There we go. All right. Okay. There we are. Boom. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Happy Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day today. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day today. Had a wonderful old Taco Tuesday. Well, I didn't even have tacos technically. I had a burrito. Did have a burrito. The chicken burrito. Good stuff, man. We went to KFC yesterday, man. It was delicious. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Like, you know what? Fine. We could forgo on the tacos today. We'll get some KFC instead. They gave us like they gave us like a KFC burrito with like some sweet and sour sauce, and they had these nuggets, and then they also had like some delicious French fry. You know what I mean?
Good morning,
that was
Justin.
good stuff. That was good stuff. Good morning, Justin. Good morning. Hold on. Why can't I see his message? Hold on. Let me check and see here. Let me check and see here. Ah, there it is. Justin Souter says good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Justin. Hope you're doing well, man. Hope you're having a fantastic day. All right. 1 second. 1 second. Got to make sure we're all set here. Yes, we are. All right. Let's make sure the audio's on. All right. Beautiful. Bobo Beebs. Howdy, Bobo. He says,
Howdy, Bobo.
He says, here you leave with Charlie. Good morning, Bobo. Howdy. Howdy, Bobo. How you doing, brother? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. All right. All right. 1 second. 1 second. All right. All right. All right. Hold on. Let me make sure I'm live on the X. Am I live on the X? All right. Let me see here. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. Yes. Yes. All right, all right, all right. Beautiful. All right. Good, good, good. Okay, so let's see here. Let's get ourselves all set and ready to go here. Hold on. Gonna take a look over here. All right. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, take this. Put this over here. Boom, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Good, good. All right. Wonderful. Okay. All right, all right. Get that all set up over here. Get myself all set up. All right. There we are. There we are. All right. Give me 1 second. All right. MAAA says, hello, everybody. Alex Martinez says, morning broskies and broskets. Great trades today. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I like that name. I like that. They broskies and broskets.
That's fun.
I like that. I like that. I like that. I like that. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, just getting myself all set here. Ladies and gents, getting everything all set and ready to go. All right. Just getting everything all ready here. All right. All right. Let's see here. Beautiful. All right. There we go. Got that set right there. Got that set right there. All right. Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Okay. Yes. Great trades today, Alex. How did you do, man? How'd you do, brother? How'd you do? Well, I'm getting everything all set up here. Got a little technical stuff going on there, right there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. There we are. All right. All right. Copy this. Boom. Right there. All right. I'm just getting all the announcements out, ladies and gentlemen. Just getting all the announcements out right now. Oh, hold on. There we go. Paste this. Pop right there. All right. There we go. Boom. Get this set over here. Boom, right there. Here. All right. There we go. All right. There we go right here. All right. All right. Wonderful. Beautiful. Let's get this shared up on the YouTubes. Legal says, hello, doubles. Hello, hello. Alex has cooked ARTL 3 times, 545 to 658, 620 to 765, and 715 to $8. Been a fire stonk. There we go, brother. Yes, sir. All right, good. That's awesome. I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear it. I love to hear it. I love to hear it. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, let me just make sure everything's good here. All right. All right, there we are. Boom. All right. Let's take a look over here. There we go. Get that set up over here. Get the YouTube shared. All right, there we are. And then, all right. Get this shared over here. Boom. Got that right there. Good. All right. So, there we go. There we go. Now let's get this intro started. What's up, guys? It's Double Nicks, and welcome to another episode of Microcap Mornings. I am your host with the most. They call me DBL Nicks in the house, aka the Rainmaker. And I am here with the lovely Serengeti specialist herself. She likes to hang around the tall weeds, the high trees, the low seas, hitting them high knees. Sometimes she likes 2 cups of coffee. Other times she likes to jet ski. Other times she likes to regular ski. Other times she gets shot at the cannon and she goes wee. Other times she likes to party and go to Arby's and Wendy's. And sometimes she likes to go to Burger King. Other times she likes to go to Mickey D's. Other times she likes to steal my lo mein, etc., right there. And other times she likes to go into the stock market and she will find them ABCDs. She did call some wonderful stocks like LBGJ YYGH SWMR and CMCT. We call her DBL Moms. All right, so that's what we got going on, folks. That is what we got going on. So before we begin, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as well as ring that bell icon to stay notified when new videos are uploaded. And remember to share, because sharing is caring, ladies and gentlemen. Sharing is caring. And of course, if you want access to our private Discord, link to join us in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section. So be sure to check that out, because we pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We're just made different. And the early bird gets the cash, the moolah, the loot, the cashola, the big bucks, I tell you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Yes. Bobo Beeb says, I'm learning not to trace trades. I follow my rules and let them come to me, kind of like the ladies. Nice.
That's what we teach in the Discord.
That is exactly what we teach in the Discord. Yes.
I'm glad that you're following the lessons, brother.
Yeesh. Yeesh. Good. Excellent. That is awesome. All right. There we go. There we go. Hold on. Let me just get everything set up. Let me get the indicators here real quick, because it's being mean to me. It's being mean to me. There we go. And then the RSI. There we go. Bot right there. All right. There we are. There we are. 9 EMA, there we go. There we go. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. Alex Martinez says NVRX moving. NVRX, we will take a look at it. Let me just get myself all set up over here. And then we will get started with that right there. Give me 1 sec. Just got to fix this little thingamajiggy over here. You know how it goes. She gets the chart gets a little temperamento. All right. There we go. Upper limit. For me, I'm going to keep it right here like that. Middle limit's going to be like here, like that. And then the lower limit is going to be here, like that. Beautiful. All right. So, there we go. There we go. Let's take a look at NVRX, or is it VNRX? We'll take a look at NVRX. All right, VNRX, you meant. Okay, VNRX. All right, Alex Martinez asked for VNRX. Let's take a look at VNRX. VNRX moving, ladies and gentlemen, moving. All right, currently, as of now, moving on an uptrend right over here. On the uptrend, bot right here. On a nice little uptrend. Has unconfirmed Q4 earnings due in 12 days. From now on March 30th, after the market close, up 92%. 92%. VNRX moving and grooving and moving right now. It is currently doing its thing right now. Let's take a look at the float. Float is a bit heavy at 126.6 million. Volume is 51 million and change. So we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on right there. So it does have news as well. Let's take a look at the news. Volition RX achieves a 99% pure tumor-derived DNA isolation with novel ChipSec liquid biopsy technology, advancing early cancer detection. Volition reports breakthrough in liquid biopsy, advancement of 99% purity in isolating cancer DNA. And then on March 6th, they had news that they completed all validation and verification of chemiluminescent immunoassay version of new Q vet cancer test with Fujifilm vet systems in Japan. If I remember correctly, Fujifilm also had some sort of camera. Fujifilm was at one point a camera company, I'm pretty sure. If it's the same Fujifilm I'm thinking about. They also announced their first ever automated new Q vet cancer test with Fujifilm vet systems. And to top it off, they did have their root cert, Rodney Gard, who's the secretary, paid for shares or tax with 3,321 at average price, 21 cents per share. So they got that going on right there. Filed the Form 4 for it as well. And to top it off, paid for that those shares of tax with 5,867 at average price for 21 cents. So they did quite a bit. They did quite a bit for this past month alone. So they do have quite a bit of news going on here. Quite a bit of news. Just a very heavy stock, heavy volume, heavy price, light on the volume. All right, float is 126 million, so heavy float. Volume is 60 million, so it's got that going on right there. Volume is 60 million right there, so we got that going on right there. VNRX currently on an uptrend right now. Needs to remain friends with the trend because it is moving up on low volume. So let's put this up here, right over here. VNRX moving up on low volume right there. That's what we got going on. That is what we got going on. All right, so we got that going on right there. All right. Okay. All right. And here we go. Boom. All right. Now, they also put here, Stanky Stocks asked for EONR. Let's take a look at EONR. EONR. All right. EON Resources Inc. Class A common stock. This is an oil stock, ladies and gentlemen. This is an oil stock right here. Up 1.94%, now 0.97%. All right. And let's see if it has any news. Let's see about the float. Float is 47 million and change, so very heavy on the float. Volume is 10 million, so as of now, very heavy on the float, light on the volume. All right. It is currently moving due to geopolitical movement, really. Circumstances pertaining to the geopolitical events occurring in the Middle East as of now. So they got that going on right there. That is currently what they got going on. So the stock is actually pulling downward as more than 18.6% as Tuesday trading session began. Trading lower despite a significant rally in crude oil prices. WTI crude features nearly a $97 per barrel, while Brent crude climbed above $104 per barrel, according to data from the Trading Economics. All right, so basically there was quite a bit of market volatility as a couple of companies rejected calls to deploy naval forces to the Strait of Hormuz. You know how that goes, yada, yada, yada. All right, basically there is a lot of uncertainty. So as of now, that's why the stock is kind of pulling back a little bit. Because, again, this is all geopolitical, not pertaining to the actual company itself. So we got that going on right there. We'll see what goes on there. It's basically sector related. So as of now, nothing that the business itself, the company, EON Resources Inc. actually did. So if it does move, it's not really on anything they did per se. It's more so just on the sector itself, which is oil. You know what I mean? So you got that going on right there. That is what we got going on right there. Let's take a look over here. Bop, right there. All right. So EONR as of now is up 1%, has an ABCD pattern. All right, then created a bit of a panic right over here. Is above the VWAP, currently above the VWAP. All right, was a bit overbought on the RSI, pulled back quite a bit, and is now not overbought or oversold in the RSI, but is leaning towards being overbought as of now. So we'll see what goes on there. It needs to break above this pennant for it to be somewhat mexy to me, but also needs more volume because it is very, very heavy in terms of float, but the volume itself is very, very low. So as of now, needs to break above this pennant. EONR. Moving on low volume, needs to break above the pennant for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. There we go. All right. There we go. All right, so let's take a look over here. Let's see what else we got. All right. Justin Souders asked for LBGJ and TPET. Let's take a look. Marty, what's good? What's good? How you doing, brother? He says, "Hey, DBLs, how you doing, Marty? How you doing?" All right, let's take a look at LBGJ. We did call that stock actually earlier in the morning today at all right prior to its run up 218%. So LBGJ called this stock early in the morning, early this morning on our private Discord server prior to its run up 218%. All right, 218% right there. Needs. All right. All right, so be sure to check out that link in the description down below as well as the pinned comment section. So be sure to check it out, check it out, check it out. All right. Yes. So you got that going on right there. Boom, right there. Hold on, let me get this right here. Bop, right there. All right, all right, all right. Beautiful. There we go. Get that put out there. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, we called LBGJ prior to its run up 218% on our private Discord. So we got that going on right there. That's what we got going on right there. All right, beautiful. All right, Bobo Beebs, how you doing, brother? All right, let's take a look over here. There we go. So that's what we got going on right there. LBGJ, as of now, had a nice run up 218%. Called it on our private Discord prior to its run up 145% right there. 145%. 145%. It's called Lee Bang International Corporation Inc. All right, let's take a look at the stock right here. Let's take a look at the float. Float is 3.3 million. Volume is 410 million. So it's got some strong volume. All right, the float is pretty good. It's a reasonable float, strong volume. So we got that going on right there. Currently is pulling back a little bit, obviously, because it ran up 218%, probably and became pretty much extended. Became extended right over here at this area right over here. All right, it did have a nice little A, B, C, D going on over here. So a little A to B, B to C, and then C to D right there. All right, formed a bit of a descending wedge bot right there. All right, and then proceeded to curl its way on up right over here. Formed a bit of a pennant right here. All right. And yeah, that was pretty much what we had going on. That was what we had going on right there. So as of now, has to break above the pennant, has to break above the VWAP for it to be schmexy to mya. So let's take a look at the news. Let's see what news it's got going on. LBGJ, does it have any news? There is news that came out about it on the 2nd of March, which was a couple of days ago. All right, about 16 days ago. All right, so it said here that Lee Bang International Corp filed a corporate statement from a foreign issuer. It was a Form 6. So we got that going on right there. But other than that, not a lot of interesting news for the stock. So it is moving up right now. Not on any news, not on any real incentive, but it is moving up. So we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on right there. So LBGJ, as of now, ran up 218%, pulled back quite a bit, formed a descending wedge, curled up off that descending wedge, and then pretty much kind of consolidated along the VWAP as of now, currently up 150%. So we got that going on. LBGJ needs to break above the VWAPA and the pennant for it to become so much maxi to mya. That's what we got going on. That is what we got going on right there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we got that. Bop, bop, and bop right there. All right. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. All right. Let's take a look and see what else there is. Justin Souders requested TPET, TPAT, TPET. Let's take a look. TPET, as of now, is on a bit of a choppy uptrend. If you take a look over here, bop right there. All right. has some unconfirmed Q1 earnings due in 13 days from now on March 31st after the market close. So we got that going on right there. Float is 10 million. Volume is 5 million. So as of now, the volume is less than the float. We got that going on right there. Up 9%. Again, this is Trio Petroleum Corp, another oil stock right there. Had, again, some Q1 earnings that are due on March 31st after the market close. So we got that as well. Let's take a look and see what news has got going on there. They did complete a transformational $19 million raise under ATM program, and they did file a Form 10, all right, as well as the Trio Petroleum stock pulling back quite a bit. But really, all the news that's been going on, pretty much almost all of the movement it's had, is based on obviously some geopolitical events that have been taking place in the Middle East. So we got that going on right there. That is going on right there. Not a lot to really say about the stock in terms of news. I mean, they do have some transformational $19 million raises under the ATM program, did file a 10K, all right? And they had some changes to their beneficial ownership, right? As well as just pretty much the fact that it was moving based off of crude prices following a major Middle East supply shock. So we got that going on right there. But as of now, that's pretty much what we got going on right there. So they filed a Form 8 on the 10th, a Form 424B5, and of course, they extended on their surge due to the Hormuz disruption fears, but that's pretty much what they had going on so far. So, I mean, again, it's all based on geopolitical incidents going on in the Middle East. So that's what they got going on right there. Not really so much company related, but rather sector related. So it's in the oil sector. So thus, because it's in the oil sector, it got affected. So they got that going on right there. Currently, it is up 10%, and it is moving up on some very low volume right over here. Again, the float is 10 million and change. Volume is 5 million. So you got that going on right there. That is what we got going on. It is a bit of a choppy uptrend, but it is moving up quite a bit. So we got that going right there. All right, is a bit overbought in the RSI, so we got that going on as well. So let's take this over here. TPET, choppy uptrend on low volume, oil play, needs more volume for it to become so much maxi to mya. There we go. So that's what we got going on right there. Let's get a share party going. Let's get to 200, ladies and gentlemen. Come on now. Let's get to 200. 200. All right. Let's see here. Beautiful. Okay. So let's see what other stonks we got going on here. Alex Martinez says, got a feeling there's going to be a lot of FOMO in VNRX and then some movement elsewhere because people can't control emotions and have to buy after a loss. It's possible. We'll see what happens. We shall see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. But as of now, let's take a look at another stock right here. We actually called another stock right here, YYGH. We did call YYGH on the private Discord, YYGH. So we got that going on right there, YYGH. All right, 108%. We called this stock early on our private Discord, ladies and gentlemen. Called the stock this morning on our private Discord server prior to its run up 108%. So yeah, be sure to check out that link in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section. So be sure to check that out because we pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We're just made different, and the early bird gets the cash. The moolah, the cash shoulder, the big bucks, I tell you. Give me 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm back. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we called YYGH. Called the stock early this morning on our private Discord server prior to its run up 108%. So ladies and gentlemen, yeah, be sure to check out that link in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section to join us. See where the magic happens, ladies and gentlemen. The magic is magic-ish. So we got that going on right there. TPET currently on an uptrend right now, but still moving on low volume. So we'll see what happens there. Let's take a look at another stock we called SWMR. Did a recap video actually of the stock as well. SWMR did a recap video on this stock prior to its run up 66% right there. DBL moms, be sure to share that video, will you? Be sure to share that video to the Twitter. The Twitter? Yes. So share it to them. Share it. Yes. So you got that. What? Yeah. Share it. Share it to them. Share it to them. Share it to them. All right. So SWMR, we did a recap video on the stock prior to its run up 66% on YouTube last night. All right, so you could be sure to check that out as well. Be sure to check that out as well. It's on the YouTubes, So we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hold on 1 second. All right, so we did that right there. That is what we got going on. We called CMCT as well. CMCT ran up a nice 34% right there. Boom, right there. All right, and we also called ARTL. Is that a 2, DBL moms? Is that 52? Yes, because it says 5Z to me. I'm like, what the yeesh. So we also called ARTL, which ran up a nice 52%. 52% right there. That's what we got going on. That is what we got going on right there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's get a share party going. Let's get to 300. 300. All right. Let's get it. Let's get it. Yes, sir. All right. So, as of now, TPET is currently moving its way on up. Currently on the uptrend. Again, on low volume. The volume is slightly increasing a little bit, but again, it is still moving on low volume there. So TPET, as of now, TPET moving on low volume upwards. There we go. TPAT, there we go again. Beautiful. All right. There we go. Boom, right there. And there we go, right there. Lovely. Okay. So let's take a look at another stock here. Let's take a look at some other stocks. Let's take a look at YYGH, see how it's doing now. YYGH did pull back since that 108% run. Has news that YY Group shares are trading higher after the company announced a strategic technology partnership with Fuku Advanced AI to strengthen its next generation workforce technology and AI hiring infrastructure. Also had some fiscal year earnings unconfirmed 4 and 13 days from now on March 31st before the market opens. So we got that going on right there. That's what we got going on right there. Yep, Justin, I'm well aware. Thank you, though. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So as of now, YYGH is doing its thing right there on the uptrend, and then pulled back quite a bit, made a bit of a descending wedge right there. All right, then it curled its way back up. But yes, Justin, I appreciate that, and I think you're right. Yeesh, it is. Yeah.
PPI came in hot today.
Yeah, it did. It did a little bit. Yeesh. It did. All right. So, as I was saying, YYGH currently below the VWAP right now, had a bit of a move upward earlier. It was a bit of a choppy move, though, and then proceeded to pull its way back down a little bit, creating a descending wedge, curled its way on up again, just touching the VWAP, and then after that, pulled its way back down and created a bit of another descending wedge right there. So as of now, YYGH, let's take a look at the float. Float is 32.8 million. Volume is 438 million right there. So it's got the volume. It has a bit of a heavy float, but it has the volume right there. And it does have some news going on for it right there. So we got that going on right there. So YYGH needs to break above the descending wedge and the VWAPA for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. There we go. That's what we got going on. That is what we got going on. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. There we are. Yes, sir. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's what we got going on for YYGH. Let's get a share party going. Let's get the 400. 400, 400, 400. All right. Let's take a look at another stock here. Let's take a look at AIM. AIM. All right. That one has been popping in a little bit. I think it's moving on some low volume right there. Float for this stock is 4 million. Volume is 16 million right there, so it hasn't been moving on low volume. AIM Immunotech shares are trading higher after the company announced that the Japan Patent Office has approved a Japanese patent covering the proprietary use of Ampligen in combination with checkpoint inhibitors for the treatment of cancer. They have some unconfirmed Q4 earnings due in 12 days as well on March 30th prior to the market opening. So they got that going on as well. So it is moving on a bit of an uptrend here. So it is currently up 76% as of now. 76%. We did call this stock a bit earlier. It is now 80%, moved up 80% right there. DBL Moms, can you do me a favor? Can you grab me some water, please? Thank you. All right. So as of now, AIM is currently on an uptrend right now on some proper volume right there. Currently up 81%. 81%. We did call the stock a bit earlier, so we got that going on as well. AIM up 81%, 85% now. 85%. 85%. And climbing as of now, and climbing. All right. And climbing currently above the VWAPA. Yes. Currently above the VWAPA. Liking this stock right now. I'm liking this one right now. So we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on right there. Do you almost get that water, please? I'm thirsty. I'm parched. I'm parched here. A little bit parched. Yes. All right. So we got that going on right there. All right. So AIM, as of now, currently moving its way on up. And climbing. Up 85%. Up 85%. So we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on right there. Yes, sir. Currently climbing up now 90%. AIM now up 90%. Got to keep an eye on this one for a little bit because it is moving its way on up, moving and grooving and moving right now. So, yes, it does have a bit of resistance at 155. Yes, sir. Yes, sirree. All right. I'm going to put this over here as well. It does have some resistance at other areas as well. 137 as well as a resistance area at 155, which I'll mark right over here. Give me 1 second. Bop right there. I'll put it at 155 because there is some resistance there as well. So I'll put it here. Bop right there. That's what we got going on. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So as of now, there is some resistance going on here for the stock. As of now, AIM has support at $1.21 right now, has to hold above 121, needs to break above 137, and needs to break above 155 right here, which is another point of resistance right there for them to keep on moving and grooving right now. So it is pulling back a little bit, but AIM did shoot up to 90%, testing the high a day as of now, testing that high a day. AIM, testing the high of day, up 90% right there. Needs volume, needs some more volume right there. Has a good amount of volume, but could always use more because why not? All right. And of course, has a 4 million float, 21 million volume. So it just needs to keep climbing up. Thank you, DBL Moms, for the water. Thank you. So we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on. Hold on 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. Just got to get a sip of water. All right. Woo. Okay. So as of now, that's what we got going on. Let's take a look at ARTL. ARTL Alpha Romeo Tango Lima. Okay. So this stock is currently up 30%. Has news that Artello Biosciences shares are trading higher after the company announced a definitive investor-initiated study agreement with the Belfast Health and Social Care Trust to be funded by Glaucoma UK and the HSC R&D division. The study will evaluate the effects of Artello's peripherally selective synthetic cannabinoid ART2713 in patients with glaucoma or ocular hypertension. So they got that going on right there. That is what they got going on right there. Yes, sir. All right. So as of now, boom. Let's take a look over here. Has a bit of movement going on over here. Boom. A little bit of a descending wedge right here. Bop right there. So we got that going on right there. Let's take a look at the float. Float is currently 1.8 million. Volume is 17.7 million. So I call it 2 million on the float, 18 million on the volume. So that's what we got going on right there. ARTL has 2 million float, 18 million volume right there. Let's take a look and see what else they got for news. ARTL has the news that the shares are trading higher after the company announced that definitive initiator investigated study agreement with the Belfast Health and Social Care Trust to be funded by Glaucoma UK and the HSC R&D division, with the study evaluating the effects of ARTL's peripherally selective synthetic cannabinoid ART2713 in patients with glaucoma or ocular hypertension. So we got that going on right there. Say that 10 times fast, huh? All right. And of course, they did expand into the glaucoma market with that fully funded ART2713, with the clinical trial also targeting neuroprotection. All right. So they got that going on right there. And they did expand to a $16.3 billion glaucoma market with the fully funded clinical study. So, yeah, that's what they got going on right there. So as of now, this stock does have some news. It does have a catalyst going on right there. Just needs to break above that descending wedge. It has the float. It has the volume. It just needs the catalyst. Well, it just needs to curl its way on up and break above that descending wedge for it to be so much maxi to mia. So that's what we got going on right there. So ARTL needs to break the descending wedge and the VWAPA for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. That's what we got going on. Let's get a share party going on. Let's get to 600. 600, 600, 600. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Give me 1 second. Bop right there. And bop right there. And ladies and gentlemen, if you have any other requests, put it in the chat. Put it in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. Put it in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hold on 1 second. All right. So there we go. There we go. Yes. So that's what we got going on right there. That's what we got going on. All right, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to check out our 4-day trial for our real-time alerts and scanners for only $9.99. Link to join us in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section. So be sure to check that out, because we pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We're just made different, and the early bird gets the cash right there. The moolah, the loot, the cash shoulder, the big bucks, I tell you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on right there. Okay, so let's see what else we got. What else we got going on here? What else we got going on? Let's take a look at YYGH. YYGH. YYGH had a nice run up, 108%. Seems to be pulling back quite a bit right now. Pulling back quite a bit. Needs to break above this descending wedge here. Looks like it is pulling back quite a bit, though. So it needs to break the descending wedge and needs to break the VWAP for it to be so much mexi to mia. Again, YY Group holding shares are trading higher after the company announced a strategic technology partnership with Fuku Advanced AI to strengthen its next generation workforce technology and AI hiring infrastructure. So it has to do that right there. It needs to break the descending wedge as well as the VWAP for it to be so much mexi to mia. YYGH needs to break the descending wedge and the VWAPA right there for it to be so much schmexy to me. Still needs to continue to do that right there. Pulling back quite a bit, though. I will write that it is pulling back quite a bit. Pulling back a bit. Right there. Can it curl? Let's see. So we'll see what goes on there, ladies and gentlemen. We shall see what goes on there. All right, beautiful. Beautiful. All right, all right, all right. There we go. Let's get a share party going. Let's get to 600. 600, ladies and gentlemen. Come on now. Let's get to 600, 600, 600. All right. So let's see what else we got here. TURB, TURB. Let's take a look at TURB, see how that's doing right there. TURB is moving on low volume, has a 1 million float, 825K stock volume right there. So we got that going on right there, moving on low volume. Let's take a look at the news, see if there's anything right here that is useful. Yes, there is something here. They did file a Form 6 as well as a Form 424B5 for Turb. All right. They also Turbo Energy raises $3.25 million to scale an AI-driven solar storage solution right there. So they have that going on right there, and they got a registered direct offering with a single global institutional investor. So again, they have all that going on right there. So yes, this stock is an energy stock. An energy stock, ladies and gentlemen. It is an energy stock. So right now it is moving upward on some light volume right now. A bit of a choppy uptrend as well. If you take a look over here, all right, it is moving upward on a very choppy uptrend. But if you take a look right over here, bop right there, you'd see all this chop over here and all this chop right over here, as well as some consolidation below and slightly above the VWAP. Right now it is above the VWAP, and it is moving upward on some very choppy volume right there. So we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on right there. So let's take a look for TURB. TURB, choppy uptrend on low volume. Can it remain friends with the trend right there? Let's see what we got going on, ladies and gentlemen. We shall see what we got going on right there. Bop right there. Boom. And boom right there. All right. So let's see what else we got. Alex Martinez says, actually, hold on. Justin Souders asked for NXXT, and Alex Martinez says TMDE just popped 10% too on the oil turbulence. Yes, sir. All right, let's take a look at the NXXT first. NXXT. There we go. All right, so NXXT does have some chop going on right here. So take a look over here. Take a look. All right, so it's got chop right over here. A lot of chop right here. Okay, a lot of chop as well right over here. All right, a lot more right over here. All right, you got some more over here, over here, down here, as well as all over this area right here, and all over this area right here. So there's a lot of choppiness throughout the stock, a lot of indecisive wicks. All right, a lot of chop, meaning that this stock does not have much in terms of the volume department right here. Has some Q4 earnings that are unconfirmed for in 12 days from now on March 30th after the market closed. So they got that going on right there for them right there. That's what they got going on. Float is 43 million, which is very heavy. Volume is 34,000. So as of now, this is moving on extremely low volume and a heavy float. So we got that going on right there. Is there any other news for NXXT? Well, they did launch an AI dashboard to manage complex energy systems in one place, and they did introduce this AI-driven dashboard for their integrated energy ecosystem. So they have that going on right there. They do have some news. They filed the Form 8 as well, and welcome National Security Strategy and Defense Acquisition Expert Commander Phil Eyre from the U.S. Navy, retired, to the Board of Advisors. So they got that going on right there. That is what they got going on right there. So this thing does have some news, but it needs volume. It needs a lot of it too. So NXXT, as of now, choppy and low volume, needs more volume to break the choppy price action and curl. All right, so it needs that right there. That's what it needs right there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's going on? AIM. Let's take a look. AIM now 122. Oh my. Oh my. Oh me. Oh my. Oh. New bagger. AIM. Hold on, we'll get to TMDE, but let's take a look at AIM right now. AIM now broke through the 155 resistance, broke above the high of day as well, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Currently, it's doing its thing right here. Let me get rid of this resistance line over here. All right, currently it's doing its thing. Has some resistance at 163. Has to break above 163. Currently up 125%. AIM broke the high of day. New bagger. AIM, new bagger. Broke the high of day. Bless you, coach. All right. Broke the high of day. Now up 125%. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on right there. All right, so AIM, new bagger broke the high a day, now up 125%, 125%. Let's get a share party going. Let's get to 700, 700, 700, 700. All right, let's get it going on right there. Let's get it, let's get it, let's get it. All right, currently AIM is now 128% and testing the high a day once again. AIM 128% testing the high a day. Now up 128% and testing the high of day. Up 132. There we go. 132. Broke the high a day now and is now 132. AIM broke the high a day, now up 132%. 132% right there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. AIM broke the high a day once again, now up 132%. All right. AIM once again broke the high of day. Shot up to 132% right there. 132%. So there we go. That's what we got going on right there. That is what we got going on. All right. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. Good, good. All right, all right, all right. Let's get a share party going. Let's get to 800, 800, 800, 800. All right. Let's see what else it's got going on. It looks like it's testing it once again. It's testing the high a day once again. It's peaking above it a little bit. Come on now. Testing that high a day. Yes, 140. 143. There we go. 147. There we go. 147. Yes, sir. All right. What else we got? Hold on. It's going again. All right. 147 is the high a day now. Now the new high a day is $1.76, $1.76. But the percentage is 147%. New high a day up 147%. AIM. New high of day up 147%. Let's go, baby. All right. Called it. We called it, ladies and gentlemen. We called it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. All right, all right, all right. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to check out our 4-day trial for our real-time alerts and scanners for only $9.99. Link to join is in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section, because we called this stock pre-market prior to its run up 147%. And now it's testing the high a day again. It's testing the high a day. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. 147. Up 150. There we go. 152. 152. All right. It's still climbing. There we go. AIM now 152%. AIM now up 152% right there. There we go. Beautiful. All right. There we go. There we go. All right. Wonderful. Excellent. There we go right there. All right, all right, all right. Testing the high a day right now at 180. There's $1.80. There we go. There we go. Let's get a share party going on. Let's get to 800, 800, 800, 800. So we got that going on right there. Yes, sir. All right, let's see. All right, keep an eye on AIM for me, DBL Moms. Keep an eye on it while I go on to another stock, TMDE. We're going to check out TMDE, Tango Mike Delta Echo, TMDE. Oil stock. Energy. Energy. All right, a lot of chop over here. A lot of chop right here. A lot of chop right here. Another bit of chop right over here. More chop over here. More chop up here. And then some extra chop right over here. All right. Has a bit of a move upward going on right there. Upward move, bop right there. And then made a bit of a descending wedge right over here, but is moving on some choppiness right now. TMDE up 16% right now. Float is 8 million. Volume is 1 million right now. So you got that going on right there. That is what we got going on. Float is heavier. Not heavy. It's 8 million. Volume, though, is 1 million. So it is higher than that of the volume. So float is heavier than the volume. That means that there's more supply than there is demand. You know how that goes, ladies and gentlemen. So TMDE as of now did have some news on the 6th of March right there. And because it is an energy stock, the Malaysia-based company supplies marine fuel, including high sulfur, low sulfur, and very low sulfur or fuel oil, to ships at sea. And it operates a fleet of about 15 bunkering vessels. So, of course, as you would all think, the geopolitical issues in the Middle East would send the oil prices surging, and that would have a direct effect on the stock. But other than that, there's not really much the stock itself is doing. So, the company's not really doing much, but it is an oil sector play, and the oil sector is being vastly affected by the conflict in the Middle East. So, we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on right there. TMDE, as of now, another energy play. So, TMDE. Energy play, low volume, needs to break above the descending wedge right there for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. There we go, right there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we got that going on. Let's get a share party going on. Let's get the 900. All right. Let's get it. Yes, sir. All right. So, as of now, let's take a look at some other stocks right here. All right. Let's take a look at another stock. All right. So, we got AIM. Let's see how AIM is doing. We called the stock early in the morning. Can't nobody do it like us because we call that baby early in the morning prior to its run up 150%. 150%. Actually, can I have a pen? Do you have a pen? Pen. There we go. Thank you. All right. AIM did have a nice run up 150%, and we called it early in the morning 150%. Call that stock early in the morning, ladies and gentlemen. Early in the morning right there. So that's what we got going on. Now it's kind of pulling back right now because it is a bit overbought in the RSI, so it's pulling back as of now. But AIM, we did call that stock early in the morning as well. Pulling back now, fell below the resistance at 154. Needs to hold above 138 for it to be somewhat schmexy to me, but it did have resistance right there. So AIM called this stock very early in the morning prior to its run up 150%. Boom, baby. Needs volume to curl back up, though. To curl back up, because right now it is pulling back a little bit, so needs volume to curl back up a little bit. So you got that going on right there. That is what we got going on right there. Boom. All right. So AIM, we did call the stock early in the morning. All right. So prior to its run up 150%. So we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on right there. All right. Okay, so let's see what other stocks we got going on here. Yes, sir. All right. All right. Let's see here. 1 second. 1 second. Let's take a look at another stock as well. Let's take a look at TPET, TPET, TPAT, TPET. All right, again, this is an oil play, so it does have a move upward over here and then pulled back quite a bit because, again, the stock itself is not actually doing anything. It's just an oil play, and because of that and because of the geopolitical stuff going on, there's not much to really say about it. You know what I mean? It's just there. So we got that going on right there. TPAT, as of now, needs to break the descending wedge. TPAT needs to break the descending wedge for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. There we go. There we go. There we are. Boom. Right there. Right there. All right. So, as of now, that's what we got going on right there. That is what we got going on. Let's take a look at another stock here. All right. Somebody requested EONR. 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 Let's take a look. EONR curling its way on up right now. Curling its way on up slightly. And then pulled back a little bit more to create yet another descending wedge right there. So we got that going on right there. EONR. Another energy stonk right there. EONR. Needs to curl above the descending wedge right there for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. There we go. There we go. EONR. That's what we got going on. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So let's see what we got going on. Let's see what we got going on right there. All right, let's take a look and see about another stock. Somebody requested NVIDIA, so let's take a look at NVDA. NVDA, let's take a look. NVIDIA shares are moving down, not looking too schmexy right now. Not looking too schmexy on NVIDIA. NVIDIA is looking like not looking good. Not looking good right now. Needs to break the downtrend. NVIDIA needs to break the downtrend for it to become somewhat schmexy to mya. NVDA needs to break the downtrend right there for it to become somewhat schmexy to mya. There we go. There we go. All right. Let's take a look over here. Boom, right there. And boom, right there. Let's take a look at IWM. Someone requested IWM. IWM. Let's take a look over here. Down 88% on a downtrend right here. Not schmexy. IWM on a downtrend. Not looking too schmexy to mya. IWM on a down. Needs to break the downtrend. Needs to break the downtrend and the VWAPA for it to become so much schmexy to me. But right now, All right, IWM needs to break that downtrend in VWAP right there. There we go. There we go. There we go. Let's take a look at ARTL. ARTL trying to curl above the descending wedge right now. Has news that ARTL Biosciences shares are to be trading higher after the company announced a definitive investigator-initiated study agreement with the Belfast Health and Social Care Trust to be funded by Glaucoma UK and the HSC R&D division. The study will evaluate the effects of ARTL's peripherally selective synthetic cannabinoid ART2713 in patients with glaucoma or ocular hypertension. So as of now, that's what they got going on right now. It's trying to curl above the descending wedge. ARTL trying to curl above the descending wedge for it to become so much Mexi to Mya. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we are. There we are. Yes, sir. So, let's take a look at DVLT. DVLT. Somebody requested DVLT. Curling above the cup and handle. Right? No, actually, no, not a cup and handle. Excuse me. Just curling off a bit of a downtrend over here. So it had a bit of a downtrend right over here. All right. And then kind of curled up right over here on this little uptrend right over here. So you got that going on right there. It needs to break above the VWAP. All right, so has a conference call scheduled tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. Q4 earnings confirmed tomorrow on the 19th before the market open. So yeah, that's what they got going on. That's what they got going on right there. So let's take a look. DVLT. DVLT. Trying to curl off the downtrend right there. Testing the VWAPA. And Hype Man says TURB. TURB. He's requesting TURB. Let's take a look at TURB. We'll take a look at it right there. Because it's an energy stock right there. Energy. So TURB, let's take a look. TURB right there. All right, so TURB currently up 18% right now. 18% as of now. He said it's up 20. I believe it. I believe that it was up 20. All right, so as of now, TURB did have some movement up over here. All right, and formed a bit of a pennant right there. Right, and now pretty much just has to break above this pennant for it to be so much Mexi to me, because TURB is an energy play. It is an energy play, like you mentioned, but it is moving on some low volume right there. If you take a look at the float is 1 million. Volume is now 1.2 million, which is good. It's good that that's 1.2 million, but it's just a little bit above the float. It's not as high as I'd like it to be. And plus, it is moving on geopolitical news instead of actual news pertaining to the stock. So right now, I'm looking for it to move above the pennant right now and utilize the volume that it has. Might need some more volume for it to really become so much Mexi to Mya. But right now, TURB needs to break above the pennant for it to become so much Mexi to Mya. That's what it needs to do right there. All right. There we go. There we go. And Hype Man says, should we buy SWMR? And then says, thanks for the advice. Oh, well, we don't give advice. We don't do that here. But we do. Yeah, we're not licensed to give advice. So we don't give advice at all. We just analyze stocks. That's what we do. All right. So he asked, should we buy SWMR? Again, not licensed. So I don't really recommend or do anything like that. That's not my job. That's not what I do. I just analyze stocks and take a look at them. So I could take a look at, we're not stockbrokers, we're not stock advisors, we're not financial professionals. Do your own due diligence, ladies and gentlemen. Do your own due diligence. We just do analysis. That's what we do. So I will analyze SWMR for you, though. I will analyze that because we did do a recap video on it last night. Ran up a nice 66%. How high did it run yesterday, DBM Moms? Do you know?
Over 700%. IPO.
Yes, so SWMR yesterday was an IPO that ran up over 700%. We called it early in the morning yesterday, prior to that run up 700%. So let's take a look over here. SWMR now up 28%. We did call it earlier today as well, prior to its 66% run. We did do a recap video on it yesterday, and we did call it prior to a 700% run yesterday. So as of now, this stock is currently moving its way on down and pulling back a little bit. Now it's trying to curl its way back up, but let's take a look over here. Bot right there. All right. So had a shot upward, then proceeded to pull its way back down, and we got the bell going on right there. The bell's going on right there. Hold on one second. The bell. The bell. It deafens me. All right. So as of now, currently, SWMR formed a bit of a pennant right over here. You know, I'd even go so far as to say, hold on, let's pull this back. All right. Shot up over here. Boom. Had a bit of a descending wedge. Curled its way on up over here. All right. Then made another descending wedge right here. Made a bit of a pennant, actually. A little bit of a pennant. Dropped back down and then curled its way back up. Right now, it is curling its way on up right now. Currently up $42 and approximately 74 cents. As of now, it's $42.50, but it's moving its way on up. Broke above the VWAP just now, curling off that downtrend that it had earlier in the morning. Their shares are trading higher amid post-IPO volatility. So they got that going on right there. That is what they got going on right there. So as of now, SWMR is on the uptrend, ladies and gentlemen, moving its way on up. That's what we got going on right there. That is what we got going on right there. So as of now, SWMR curling off the downtrend. SWMR curling off the downtrend. We did do a recap video on it, so we got that going on as well. That's what we got going on right there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. There we go. Okay. Give me 1 second. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get a share party going. Let's get the 1300. 1300, 1300, 1300. Alex Martinez asked for TMDE, says moving up 23% on trade, 25.27. All right. So let's see what we got going on right there. TMDE. All right, TMDE as of now curling up off the descending wedge right there. Still moving on some relatively okay volume, I guess, but not really what I want right here. Let's take a look at the float. Float is still 8 million. Volume is 2 million, so it's moving on low volume still. Curling above the descending wedge right there for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. So, TMDE, that's what it's got going on. TMDE as of now curling off the descending wedge on low volume. TMDE curling off the descending wedge on low volume right there for it to become somewhat schmexy to me. Curling off the descending wedge, bop right there. So we got that going on right there. Needs to break above and get that higher volume right there. So Yusuf Muyazin asks, why did AIM get halted? Well, I mean, normally these stocks get halted, especially when they run really, really high. So it happens from time to time. So it's not anything new. It just happens, really. It's basically a circuit breaker type of deal, right? So basically, if it hits a certain threshold, stock market goes, oh, hey, oh, what you doing? And then they kind of halt it a little bit until it's time to reach the next threshold. So that's really what AIM does. AIM, as of now, is currently up 118%. Pulled its way back down a little bit, formed a bit of a descending wedge off of the high, which was 150%. 150% right there. So they did pull back a little bit, but it looks like they're trying to curl back up above that descending wedge right there. So we'll see what happens right there. AIM trying to curl off the descending wedge. AIM trying to curl off the descending wedge, needs to break the resistance at 154. Needs to break that resistance at 154 for it to really start curling up a little bit. So we'll see what happens there. We shall see what happens right there. That is what we got going on right there. All right, so AIM, that's what we got going on. All right, trying to curl up. It is trying to curl its way on up right now, so we'll see what happens there. We shall see what happens there. All right. Let's see what else we got. What else we got? Alex Martinez says IBJG is on fire. IBJG, let's take a look at IBJG. IBJG, I do not see IBJG. Maybe IBGJ? Or LBGJ, maybe. LBGJ. Yeah, there we go. LBGJ curling its way on up now. Up 195%. Curling its way on up. Had a high of 218%. It is curling. Broke that VWAP right there. Pulled back a little bit. And then broke the VWAP right there. And is now on an uptrend. Moving above the VWAP. So LBGJ LBGJ curling above the VWAPA and trying to climb. All right. I'm going to get some support and resistance lines on it. Support and resistance. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, give me 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. Let's get some support over here. Resistance right over here. So as of now, has to hold above the 9-cent line. Needs to break above 10 cents for it to be schmexy to me. Has to break above this double top right over here, which is also at 9 cents. So it needs to break the double top over here for it to become somewhat schmexy to me. That's what it's got to do for it to really become somewhat schmexy to me. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So LBGJ as of now, moving its way on up slightly, up 195%. 228 now. 228, new high. New high. 228. 228%. New high of day, baby. New high of day. All right. 228%. There we go. LBGJ. LBGJ. New high of day, up 228%. 228%. Called it, baby. Called it. Yes, sir. Called that stunk earlier. All right, let's see how it's doing now. What's the percentage? What's the percentage? Like, oh my God, it broke above the high of day. Let's see how it's doing. How's it doing right now? 260%. 260% right now. 260%. Oh my. 260%. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. 260. 260, 260, 260. All right. So LBGJ. LBGJ broke the high of day. Shot up 260%. There we go, baby. That's what we like. That's what we like. LBGJ, curl up 260%, baby. Boom. Boom, baby. Yes, sir. That's what we got. That is what we got going on right there. Ooh. All right. All right, all right, all right. So, LBGJ, up 260% and testing the high of day once again. Testing the high of day at 11 cents. Testing it once again. We'll see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. We shall see what happens. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's get a share party going. Let's get to 1500. 1500. 1500. Let's get it. Come on now. Come on. All right. All right. Let's get it shared on the YouTube. Share it on the YouTube. All right. There we go. Alex Martinez says, wow, I cooked on that trade, but only got in with 2,500 shares as soon as it broke the 200 EMA. I had the position. Oh, good. Hey, look. As long as you made money. Money! Yeesh. So it's got some money going on right there. Money, 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 money. All right, testing the high right now. It's testing the high once again. LBGJ testing the high once again. Testing that high once again. Yeesh. All right. Yeesh. All right. Yeesh. All right, all right, all right. Let's see how we got going on. Let's see what we got going on. Bobo Beep says ARTL moving a bit. ARTL, let's take a look. All right, let's take a look at ARTL. ARTL. All right. Let's see here. Curling up off the descending wedge. Curling right there. Let's get some support and resistance lines for it. Support and resistance right there. Boom. As of now, curling off the VWAP, broke the VWAP, and is now testing the high of day, broke the resistance lines and the VWAP, and is testing the high of day right now. So ARTL ARTL curled off the descending wedge, broke the resistance, testing the high of day. That's what we got going on, ladies and gentlemen. That is what we got going on. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. ARTL doing a schmexy old thing. Doing a schmexy old thing right there. All right. Let's get a share party going. Let's get to 1600. 1600. All right. Mm-hmm. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. So we got that going on right there. That is what we got going on. Alex Martinez, let's see here. Bubble Beef says halted. Yep. Looks like it halted a little bit. Looks like it halted. But Alex Martinez says UAVS popping also, ladies and gentlemen. Guy got in a few days ago at $1. All right, let's take a look at UAVS. Let's take a look at UAVS. UAVS. Let's see what we got going on. So UAVS, very choppy. Very, very choppy. All right, has some chop going on over here. A little bit of chop going on right over here. A lot of barcoding as well. So we got that going on right there. Got to be careful of that. All right. Has some movement going on right here. That's just a bit choppy, very barcodey. Let's take a look at the float. Float is 43 million and change. Volume is 911,000. So we got that going on right there. Very low volume. Needs more volume for it to be so much maxi tumya. UAVS. Let's take a look at the news. They did have some stocks that say AG Eagle Aerial Shares filed a general corporate statement, Form 8, and invested in Aerodrome Group with terms undisclosed. So they got that going on right there. It was sharing lower, though, after the drone company announced an investment in an Israeli weapons firm right there. So they got that going on right there. Again, this is a drone company which pertains to things pertaining to war, which is, which involves the geopolitical stuff going on. They manufacture UAVs, which are unmanned aerial, usually unmanned. What's it called? What was it called again? Unmanned. Ah, my God, I remember. It was an unmanned aerial vehicle, if I remember correctly. Unmanned aerial vehicle. I almost said unmanned assault vehicle. No, unmanned aerial vehicle. All right. So basically, it's a drone. They're making drones. They're making drones. That's basically the idea. They're making drones. All right. They utilize key components of unmanned aircraft systems used for surveillance, aerial photography, defense, agriculture, things of that nature. And most of the time, they're RPVs, meaning they're remotely piloted vehicles with uncrewed aircraft. So they got that going on right there. That is what they got going on right there. So they tend to range from things like military combat aircraft to small consumer multicopters and nano UAVs, which can be powered by batteries, fuel, or hydrogen fuel cells, and things of that nature, as far as I know. But basically, that's the prospect of what a UAV is. So they do make a lot of UAVs. They make a lot of those. So, yeesh, that is what they do. All right. So yeah, they are basically doing that. That's what they do. So as of now, the UAVs are basically, it's very, very choppy as of now. Low volume, not looking too schmexy right there. We'll see what goes on with the stock, but it needs a lot of volume. UAVS barcoding and choppy. Needs more volume for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. That's what's got going on. So UAVs needs more volume for it to be somewhat schmexy to mya. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So that's it. That there's the DBL explanation of what a UAV is. So we got that going on right there. That is what they got going on right there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So UAVs currently very choppy. Needs volume. Needs volume for it to be somewhat schmexy to me. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's what we got going on right there. That is what we got going on. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as well as ring that bell icon to stay notified when new videos are uploaded. And remember to share, because sharing is caring, ladies and gentlemen. Sharing is caring. And of course, if you want access to our private Discord, link to join is in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section. So be sure to check that out, because we pick a lot of baggers a lot of times. We're just made different. And the early bird gets the cash, the moolah, the loot, the cashola, the big bucks, I tell you. Alex Martinez says, I'm holding it long term. When it breaks, news is going to pop. 130 to 150. I hope you're right, brother. I hope so. It needs volume, but I hope so. I do hope so. All right. But yes, so as of now, that's what we got going on right there. So much love, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to check us out on our YouTube channel at Coaching Money. At Coaching Money, where we do lots of stock reviews, stock analysis, recap videos as well, such as the one we did last night for SWMR. We do lots of live streaming. We do lots of long form videos, short form videos, etc., etc. So be sure to check that stuff out, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to check us out again at Coaching Money. At Coaching Money. And you can find us on our X.com, aka Twitter. You can find us there where we do lots of live streaming, lots of stock reviews and stock analysis there as well. At Coaching Money. At Coaching Money. All right. And you can also check us out on our Twitch, where you do lots of live streaming at Coaching Money. At Coaching Money. You can find us on our Facebook, Instagram, and Threads at Coaching Money. At Coaching Money. And you can find us out on our TikTok, Tiki Taki, aka the Tac Tac. The Tac Tac. You can find us there at DBL Nicks. At DBL NICKS. And the screen name is Coach Nick Money. So we got that going on right there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, yeah. That's what we got going on right there. So be sure to check us out on all those social media platforms. Be sure to also check out our 1:30 p.m. show, Power Plays, hosted by the legend himself, Coach Nick Money, as he traverses the stock market prior to Power Hour and basically gives his honest reviews and analysis on the stock market before it does before the Power Hour comes up there. And then what he does after he gives the honest review is he basically lets the stock simmer on high heat a little bit, lets him simmer on high heat while he basically, gets down to bees and knees and decides to, get some dubs for the community on Fortnite, get some dubs for the community. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So he's got that going on. Again, you can watch him on YouTube, you can watch him on X, and you can watch him on Twitch, all of which are at Coaching Money. At Coaching Money. So be sure to check that out, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to check that out. And of course, ladies and gents, also be sure to, like, comment, subscribe on our YouTube channel. Be sure to follow us on X. Be sure to follow us on Twitch. Be sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms so you never miss anything when new videos are uploaded. All right. And when new announcements are made and things of that nature, you never miss a single thing. So be sure to check all that stuff out. Be sure to give it a follow. Be sure to give it a like. Be sure to give it all that stuff. Do all that. Like, comment, subscribe. It helps support the stream and helps us continue to make these wonderful, wonderful videos for all of you, ladies and gentlemen, because we love you. We love you, ladies and gentlemen. We love you. All right. So, quick thing before we wrap up. If you've been watching and you're serious about trading these small caps, don't just sit on the outside trying to piece it together, because we got a 4-day trial access pass for only $9.99, and it's all full access. You come inside, you see how we operate live and in living color, ladies and gentlemen, how we structure our trade ideas, how we map our levels, how we think about risk, how we handle momentum. You get the next day watch list, you get the 24/7 market news flow, pre-market scanners, after-hour scanners, float, volume, catalyst, all of which are put in, ladies and gentlemen. Catalyst context put right in there. You get access to the float, the volume, the target. Not the target. You get access to the price, volume, float, stock, change in percentage, as well as whether the stock's moving up or down. It gives you hyperlinks to the stocks so that you can get more information on them right there. You also get access to the newsroom, which basically gives you pretty much hyperlinks for the wonderful articles that are in there. a synopsis of the articles that are in there, as well as hyperlinks to the stocks that are affiliated with the news within said article. So be sure to check that out as well. So you got that going on right there. As well as such, you'll also be able to see our ticker tape built to catch stocks when they're starting to heat up before they go parabolic. Because, ladies and gentlemen, this isn't noise, it's structure. So we got that going on as well, and those also have hyperlinks as well. So all you got to do is press a button, and you get all the information you need on one stock that you're keeping an eye on right there, because this is a wonderful research tool, ladies and gentlemen. It's educational. We love to educate. We love to help build one another. We love to do that stuff. So if that's how you want to approach this market, grab that 4-day pass. Come see it live, ladies and gentlemen. Link to join us in the description down below, as well as the pinned comment section. So be sure to check it out, and when you come in, let us know that you saw us on the stream, ladies and gentlemen. And if you want to join the Wealth Builders package, ladies and gents, you get access to an exclusive Wealth Builders package, as well as, obviously, the real-time alerts and scanners, which gives you the war room, as well as the other wonderful amenities that I've just named. All right. And to top it off with that, you get access to a Wealth Builder exclusive chat. You get access to Wealth Builder exclusive scanners. You get access to Wealth Builder exclusive information, as well as Wealth Builder exclusive picks. You get access to Wealth Builder exclusive content, such as, for example, the 500 video content, wonderful course with over 500 plus videos showing how we trade and what works best for us. As such, you also get access to other Wealth Builder content like behind-the-scenes footage, scripts, etc. You get access to all that, as well as the NASDAQ Alert Archive and the OTC Alert Archive, so you got that going on as well. That's what you got going on right there. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Much love. Take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful day. It's Double Nicks. I love you guys. I'll see you guys at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Power Plays with the wonderful Coach Nick Money in the house. And, of course, I'm here with the lovely Serengeti specialist herself. She likes to hang around the tall weeds, the high trees, the low seas, hitting them high knees. Sometimes she likes 2 cups of coffee. Other times she likes to jet ski. Other times she likes to regular ski. Other times she gets shot at the cannon and she goes, whee! Other times she likes to party, and sometimes she'll go to Arby's and watch videos of puppies and kitties. Other times she'll go to Wendy's. Other times she'll go to Mickey D's. And other times she'll go to Burger King. And other times she'll just go into the stock market and she'll find them ABCDs. After all, she did call some wonderful stocks like LBGJ, YYGH, AIM, and CMCT, as well as SWMR. We call her DBM Moms! And that's what we got going on. So, much love. Take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful day. And peace out, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you.